I'm great. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you. I am so excited. I love your idea, Aesthetics Accelerator. Where did you come up with it?
I came up with it by accident, I guess. And then the process of doing everything backwards, um, I realized that there's a need in this industry to do things in a little bit different way to set people up for success rather than failure.
Hmm. Yeah. It's really interesting. I know that you've been trying to get me onto all these aesthetic websites, and I've been having a hard time because I'm not a nurse and I'm not an esthetician, and I'm really not directly in the field except for helping people there that are in those fields. But one of my clients is a spa, and I did something on Facebook and it actually accidentally switched me over to their Facebook account, and then all of a sudden I completely saw what you were talking about. When we had first met, we had spoken about like how do you get your marketing site up and running and your business, and then you brought to the table, like what classes am I going to take and how do I take them, and medical director issues and tax issues and insurance issues. And it was so interesting because all of a sudden it was like, it was behind the Wizard of Oz cloak, and I was just like, I really didn't know what you were talking about until I had that kind of view. And I think, I spent probably like a half an hour reading all these comments of all these poor estheticians that are like, yeah, I've been paying rent and I haven't had a client, or,
Mm.
I have like the same three clients, but I can't make my business off of it. And I have to say, I know you've been telling me for months you have to see this. And, finally, certainly by accident, I realized, oh my goodness, what a need this is. Now, like through your experience, like what are kind of the key things that you would want to change in terms of helping making med spa people successful?
I think just having like I mean, there's so much to it that I'm realizing now, having gone through the whole process. Which, I mean, not everybody will go through the same exact, steps that I went through. And maybe some people go from step one to step five, but just having an understanding really of what they're getting into and where they want to be in the business. Like for me, I have my own space, and you remember how that unfolded. And for me, that's where I should be. But for somebody else, they might want to be, in a salon, renting a little room,
Yeah.
but just having an understanding of like what your business looks like, and having a idea that you're going to be running a business. It's not just that you're going to be injecting, and understanding how all those things play together, and how you're going to be, you're going to further your education, how you're going to get your product, like what your finances are. Do you want to be an LLC so that you can limit your liability? Would you rather be a sole proprietor? Thinking about even things like you're going to have to do taxes and keep track of your product, and you're going to have to have business equipment, and but you're going to need clients, really. Is what it comes down to. You need clients. Like there's so much to it. And when I felt so like not, yeah, I guess defeated. You remember when at some point everybody will get to hear my story, and how, my road was very bumpy in the beginning, but that I just felt like I was set up for failure, and I had just spent like thousands of dollars. And now it's like the world's watching, and everybody, my friends and family, everybody knows that I decided to become an injector. And I was like, oh God, like I'm going to fail in front of everybody. And I've just spent all this money. And I just like, that's what's motivated me to like really want to like partner with you and try and help people, because you brought so much to the table with the marketing and helping me with my Facebook page and everything, so much more than that. And networking with people, and that piece of it, like understanding that you need to get out and meet people, and show your face and shake hands, and um, just overall just trying just to set people up for success. And not everybody will succeed in this business, but at least giving people the best shot that they can, to have the tools to try and help each other out. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you and I are very unique in a way of like, we're women that like to help other women, and we're not the women that want to see you fall flat on your face. So
Exactly. You know, and I feel like one of the funny things, and you and I have talked about this a million times, is people always say, "Oh, that's how the aesthetics business is, that's how the med spa business is." And I remember, there are times when I've had certain relationships with clients where I don't want to say fight, but go toe to toe with them and say, I don't think that's right.
Mm,
There are times when I don't say anything, because I'm like, it's not really my place to say. And they have, yeah, and they're so solid in their opinion. But I just think it's really heartbreaking, when, especially since you're starting out as a nurse, you've already put in all that time, all that
mm,
energy. You're already doing God's work taking care of people. Like that's my opinion on like nurses and
right, right.
really. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I want to do something, because I want to make the world a more beautiful place. I want women to have more confidence, and then you
Mhm.
get into it and, you have all this training, but you don't have your foundation, and I
Right,
think that
right.
that's really where I think as soon as you have the inkling that you want to be someone that's going to have a service that you're going to sell, is I think you need to become a people collector. You need to start,
Right,
say that you're like 21 and you're in nursing school and you're like, someday I'm going to be a nurse injector. That's when you start your Facebook page. That's what,
right,
or your Instagram
right,
page, or
right,
your email list, or you collect business cards and you put them in a pile
right,
because
right.
you want to capitalize on all of those relationships from the
Yep,
very beginning. And I
right,
think,
right.
and then you've got to catch them. You've got to catch them with your Facebook page, or your Instagram page, or Groupon. I think that was a brilliant idea. You and I had a disagreement
Right.
about Groupon.
Right. Well, a lot of people, it's funny because I have the like Groupon. There should be like a whole section Groupon because I
Yeah.
have that argument with a lot of people and
Yeah.
other professionals that do like massage and that kind of thing. Of, a friend of mine, he's written a book and everything, and one of the things he says is no Groupon, set yourself apart.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the beginning where I was like trying to gain my confidence, I
Yeah.
still have some of my Groupon people. Are they all perfect? No. Some of them still like say, "Oh, I got a text yesterday. It's like, oh, can you still do this for that price?" And you know, at this point, I'm like, I try and say like, if you want to refer me a client, I'll work with you. But that's me. Like, I try and work with people so that I can build my business.
Right.
Um, a lot of people don't,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean it's right or wrong. Some
Yeah.
people like come out of the gate and they're super confident and they've got money behind them and they have this beautiful spa. Sure, like
Yeah.
you have the more flexibility to say no to those clients, but I think, there's a time and place for everything and it depends on, everybody's individual situation.
Yeah, 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 totally. It's so funny because I was, in my path of speaking with clients from all different areas, not just the aesthetics world. I have clients that are just like, I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to do that. And I'm like, you're literally just starting your business.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
I
do it
don't know.
all.
I was like, I don't know. Like, and I remember even when I started my business, I was, when I got out of a job and I started my business, I was charging around the same amount of money that I was making. You know what I mean? I don't know,
Right, right.
30, 40, $50 an hour, when I was, in corporate America and, living life
Yep, yep.
when, you have benefits and everything. So you're crazy.
Right,
You jump off the crazy train and start your own business.
right.
Um, but, it's really interesting because you really have to like kind of eat your humble pie at the beginning, I think. And I think that
Right,
that's why
right.
you like each other is because, we know that, we're working and we're working to build something, but at the same time, you're great at some things and, and that's really the game. It's just really, but I think the one thing that has always drawn me to you is your heart. You know what I mean? Is your heart's in the right place. You're so committed to people, being confident and like owning their greatness, and that's where I think that sets you apart from aesthetics. Aside from the fact that you were like, yeah, this is not going to go down like this anymore. You know, I know that we've been doing research on like how much these like competitive programs are costing, and we're seeing them at like what, 3,000, 5,000, eight
Yeah.
thousand dollars. And I'm like, okay, how much money could you throw at a business when you're not even successful yet?
No, I know. That's just insanity.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Because
Yeah.
like you've always said, taking a page of your book, like there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
There's enough to go around. I mean, would I want somebody to start up a business like down the hall from me doing the same exact thing? No. But um there's room for all of us here.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to what you were saying, you are equally that person, and that's why we align so much,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
And so when thinking about Aesthetics Accelerator, it's a little bit hard to say. We love it in
It
print.
is.
It's easier to say when we're not talking on camera,
I
clearly.
know.
But I think you're really smart with the whole like, your ideas about why don't you share about like kind of like the overall program? Because you were like, what am I going to be? And then what are taxes and insurance? Can you share a little bit about what your thoughts are in those areas?
About like each individual,
Yeah,
like,
module. Yeah. A little.
um, I mean, gosh, there's so much to it. I mean, I think the the big piece is part of it is your piece. Like that whole like you need to be by the time you get done with that first injecting class, you almost already should have had your Facebook page done, all those like marketing things. Like that should be off the bat.
Yeah.
Um, and I know, I mean, just learning from my mistakes and everybody's path will be different, but choosing the right program. And I'm sure a lot of the people that we're going to come in contact with have already gone through a program. So I'd say 50 feet 50, they're going to be either like I was and didn't get enough education and they're not feeling confident, or maybe they have and they're one of the lucky ones that feels good and they're ready to like hit the ground running. But
Yeah.
I'd say it may even be more than not 50 50. There's going to be a group of people that feel like they are kind of like, treading water, like, oh my gosh, I just injected 4 people and now I'm supposed to know what I'm doing.
Right.
Um, so for me, like, and where I'm at with my business, that is the number one, like, most important thing. It's like having that network of girls
Hmm.
that, and I've talked to you about this too, is helping align people once our program gets going and holding events so that we can unify people so that they have support. But
Yeah.
being able to like talk through things of like, I mean, everybody's face is different, right? I mean, and there's so many different things you can do with your medical aesthetic business. It's not just Botox, but that is the bulk of it, I'd say in the beginning. Mrs. Smith came in and her glabella is really, like it looks different and like it has a single line versus 2 lines. Like, where would you inject? I'm worried about this, that. Like, there's so many insecurities in the beginning that you have to be able to work through. And part of that is having support. And if you don't have it, which you saw somebody that was in the same practice, if you do not have that support and you don't have that ability to grow your confidence, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
So I'd
Yeah.
say that's the number one most important thing. And that's not an easy thing to obtain, but
Yeah.
be nice, be friendly, talk to people in your classes, like, unify yourself with somebody that, you can lean on because you're going to need each other. And I'm hoping that as we grow, that's something that we can really help support people with,
Yeah.
um, the mentorship and, aligning people in a group so
Yeah.
that they have that support. I mean, a lot of people think about like pricing in the beginning. I mean, you remember what I was paying for
Right.
God, I was paying $500 a month. I mean, thinking about finances is probably super important. Like, not probably, it is super important. Like, you've got to figure out, I mean, we all have other sources of income, like you have to in the beginning.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to figure out like, when can I inject? Um, how am I gonna, I mean, you don't expect to make money the first year. If you do, that's fantastic.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, but you've got to know like where your revenue stream is going to come from so you don't have that like stress of, I mean, you're gonna lose some money, but you don't want to lose your house.
Right. Right. Right.
So if you
Like a
get
very
together with,
expensive hobby the first year, if
yeah,
you might.
and you're gonna waste like product. I mean, I still waste product. Sometimes you got really busy months, and then sometimes like it's July, people aren't as apt to want to do things. So
Yeah.
you're gonna lose money here and there. But just understanding that when I first got into it, I don't think that really crossed my thought process. I was I was in survival mode of like, oh God, what have I done to myself?
Right.
I'm gonna fail in front of everybody.
Mhm.
By the grace of God, I met you, and had I not, I don't think I would have made it. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
you
But
helped
I
me
have
through my.
thank you. But at the same time, Liz and I have come up with this comprehensive program, basically 10 module program to really go through every conversation that you're going to need to deal with before you start your business, whether you have taken all of your classes, or you're literally in nursing school. Obviously, if you're in nursing school, it's an easier place to start because you can really build your business as you're, getting your feet under your ground for your nursing practice. Or when you're working for a hospital, all of those skills, I think, lend you to becoming a great, esthetician, a med spa esthetician. So, and then we're also going to have a membership program where on a monthly basis, you can come and ask questions. We're going to have open hours, where you can stop in for an office hours for an hour. Liz and I will be sitting here having coffee. And if you want to pop in and have a conversation with us, great. Whether you need business information or aesthetics information or whatever, or, there are going to be moments when you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't do this.
Mhm.
And those office hours, those coffee, we're going to probably call them coffee talks, are really going to be those times where, if you need a virtual hug or, we're all over we live in Massachusetts. If you need a real hug, come meet us out for a drink and we'll give you a real one. But what really our commitment is that if you are a med spa injector and you're interested in building a business, we're going to give you all the tools that you need and we're going to do it for a far less price than a lot of other
Right,
people,
absolutely.
you
And
know?
if it's something that we haven't come across yet, we're really good at finding the answers.
Exactly, exactly. We know a lot of people. So awesome. Well, I'm excited. If you go to our website, definitely join our Facebook page. It's Aesthetics Accelerator. And then our website is also the same name.com. And we're going to be putting up a waiting list. So if you'd like to look at what our kind of basic thoughts are around what our classes are going to be, those are going to be up there, but put yourself on our waiting list. And as soon as we release kind of our first program, you'll be invited. And, probably the first 50 people I think we had discussed are going to get a serious discount. If you give us a testimonial, if you like us, but, I think that you will, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to love what you're going to get with us Aesthetics Accelerator. So, please jump on our waiting list. And, if you have any questions, feel free to, email beautiful at aestheticsaccelerator.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Look forward to seeing you all.